Then we get into the Oprah beef. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey and Monique have a beef that's been going on, I guess, for years now.
So, I don't know. I guess I wanted to know, like, how true is that as far as the Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry thing is concerned, that they were trying to get you to do all these interviews and you were telling them no?
I appreciate you asking me that, Wanda. When people were saying that I wasn't promoting Precious, if you just look for yourself and don't take my word for it, during that time, I promoted the heck out of that movie. I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. We were doing magazines. We were doing radio interviews. So all the promotions that needed to take place in America, I was more than happy and more than willing, because that's what you do when you're trying to promote a movie. Mm-hmm. In reference to Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey calling, they did. And Sydney and I did speak with both of them. Tyler Perry's conversation, he and I actually had in Las Vegas at one of Steve Harvey's neighborhood awards. And Tyler Perry called me into his room. He said, Monique, listen, if you go and promote this film, and I'm sorry, if you promote for the campaign of the Oscars, your next film, if you just get nominated, will be between $3 to $5 million. If you win it, it's between $6 to $8 million. Because they were trying to get me to understand why I should go to Cannes in France to do the film festival. And I said to Tyler Perry in his room, and again, we always say, don't take my word for it. I said to Tyler, I said, brother, what I'm not into is the song and dance. I can't make that trip for free in the hopes that something may happen. Now, I've done all I'm supposed to do contractually and what I was obligated to do to promote that movie here. Well, no one knew the movie was going to do all of that.
Right.
Because initially, Lee was upset because before we went to the film festival in Sundance and it started getting all the hype, the studios were saying, who's going to want to see two fat black women on the big screen? No, thank you. So when it came to us going to France, Oprah Winfrey, she did call. And when she and I initially talked, she said, what is it going to take to get you here in France? I said, sister, absolutely nothing. I am in the bed with my man and my children watching Curious George. Well, she kept asking questions, and at that point, Sydney got on the phone with Oprah Winfrey, and they had a conversation. And when they were done speaking, she said, I totally understand. Now, I then get a call back from Lee Daniels, and he said, wow, Oprah came up to me and said, you're right. She's really not impressed with all of this hoopla and awards. So, and I want to clear something up, too, in reference to me going to France. And I think that every woman listening, I think that every adult listening can understand or may want to try to understand where we're coming from. All of my business with the movie Precious was done with Mr. Daniels in America. There's not one person that's come out and said Monique breached her contract. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. None of that took place. When it came time to take this film internationally to the festivals, Lionsgate, they called Sydney up. And they said, because of her promotions in the States, she did it so well,
right,
we would love for her to go over to France to the Cannes Film Festival. I said, I respectfully decline. Now, I want to tell y'all why I was declining. Because I had very little downtime. And if y'all can remember, at the time, there was a show called The Monique Show. I was the first black woman in history to have a late-night show. So that was my priority. At the time, it was the award season. So I was flying back and forth to L.A. during the award season. At the time, I was on a comedy tour, Spread the Love tour. So I was moving a lot. So when I did have some downtime, I said, I want to take this time and give it to my family. So when Lionsgate called and asked would I go over to France, I simply said I respectfully decline. They then called the second time. Well, if we upgrade her hotel room and we give her a few more days in France, will she take it? I respectfully decline. They then called a third time and said to Sydney, what is it going to take to get Monique to France?
And what did you say, Sydney?
Is there a dollar amount associated with that offer you're speaking about?
I think that's when that's when people got upset, because all they could hear, Monique and Sydney, was you were being disrespectful to Tyler and Oprah. That's when the media just lost it.
Here's the great part about it.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, and when you live long enough, you understand that people will say a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, if you notice the fluidity in which Monique is speaking with you, and you watch the careful manner in which Mr. Daniels is speaking, and again, not because he's not honorable, but the weight and the density of Hollywood is heavier than you can believe. And the lights are drawing people to it like moths. So he's no different.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't want to look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand why he's taking the position that he's going to take. But we all got told stories as children about what happens when you don't tell the truth, and that ultimately it's going to come out. And as you said, you know who this individual is. And the question that I would ask you is, if Lionsgate is not making a demand to us by simply asking what would it take to get Monique there, how is it a demand to give a retort, which is, was there a dollar amount associated with this? And then they reply, we do not pay for promotions. And we said, we completely understand. However, I would be remiss in not doing what I was supposed to do when someone says you have completed your obligations, or you, from a state side, she took that on as this is her obligation. Again, the proof is in the pudding. You've seen what
Right.
it is that she's done. But when we say you've completed it and we want you to come in and do something for us, and the upgrade is that we're going to fly you over there first class and treat you well, but you really don't get an opportunity to enjoy it. And there was one other amenity that they had added on. We could even allow you to stay there a little later after everything is over. She respectfully declined. So when someone asks you, what is it that we could do in addition to make this happen? I'm thinking they're asking you to excavate the realms of your mind,
Right.
and see what you can come up with to make this happen. Well, because where we're from, we don't get paid in candy. We don't get paid with treats.
They do on the regular show, though.
On the
Pops,
regular
pay
show.
'em in lollipops.
Lollipops. but that's a different dimension. So where we are, we get paid according to dollars. Once they said no, then we can simply say, well, we appreciate your time and thank you. So from there, here's the firestorm.
Precious, I believe, was produced or affiliated with Oprah, and Monique starred in Precious. Was co-star, she won the Oscar for supporting actress, best supporting actress, I believe. So then that's the whole connection, I believe. And prior to that, Oprah was somewhat of a idol and a mentor to Monique. I don't know about mentor, but definitely an idol. She mentioned looking up to her as a little girl. So then they get in business together, and that's when things go sideways. Promotions for the film, I guess Monique felt exploited. It's been known and mentioned that Monique was sexually abused by her brother as a child, like from the ages of 7 to 13, she was molested by her brother. So apparently that was known, and Oprah, in promotion of Precious, or for some reason or other, decided to have Monique's family on her show to discuss that issue. Monique even said it. Shannon said it. It's like, here she is on a high in life. She's winning Oscars. She's making films. She's doing stand-up. Why would you want to go back down to, oh yeah, remember that childhood trauma when I was abused by my brother? Yeah, let's have him on the show and talk about it. It's kind of a strange angle, expose. But then again, that was very relatable to the film Precious. So it does make sense in that regard, and I believe Oprah, if memory serves me, Oprah had mentioned, I could be wrong on this. I'll write a little addendum. I'll add a little addendum if I am wrong. But I recall Oprah had mentioned she had been abused on some level as well in her youth. So maybe it was a cathartic thing. Maybe it was an issue that was near and dear to Oprah. Maybe she just saw it as like, you know, I've suffered this. Monique suffered this. We have this film, Precious, which is really taken off. Let's use that as a vehicle to talk about this. And I don't know, she just wanted to talk about it, I guess. But it is a very weird thing. And Monique mentioned that, and Shannon Sharp mentioned that. It's like, you know, you're winning Oscars. Do you really want to go back down into that hell from which you came from and talk about all that crap? I mean, for myself, when I think of my life now, the last thing I want to do is like rehash all my trauma and talk about things from the past. Like, I'm going to go forward, you know? And not that I have trauma in that regard. You know, I was never abused sexually or anything like that. But I mean, you know, just everyone's got their stories in life. And at some point you just want to move on. Correct? And when I think of the Oprah and Monique thing, I think of like the epitome, literally the epitome of that phrase, never meet your heroes.
When you were growing up in Baltimore, what did a young Monique want to be?
Just what I'm doing right now, baby.
You dreamed of this.
Just when I tell you, Shannon, from a little girl, I always wanted to be famous.
Okay.
Because I saw the Jackson 5.
Okay.
And I saw people screaming for them and hollering. And I'm like, damn it, I want them to scream and holler for me, but I couldn't sing.
Right.
But I knew somewhere I was going to be famous.
Right.
So I prayed to the universe, just let me be famous. I didn't understand what all came with that.
Mm-hmm.
As a little girl,
Right.
You just see the lights, the glamour, the glitz, and you fall in love with that. So that little girl fell in love with the lights, the glamour, and the glitz. That little girl fell in love with a woman named Oprah Winfrey on a local talk show in Baltimore called People Are Talking. And when I looked at that woman, Shannon, I saw me. I saw a big woman with a big head, big shoulders, and big feet. And I said, if that woman can do that, so can I. So that's what that little girl was thinking about from Baltimore.
Are you the type of person that if you see someone do something one time, that means it can be done again? Because you saw Oprah do it. You say, well, Oprah doing it, why can't Monique do it?
I think Oprah, when I saw her do it as a little girl, was a push. However, had I not seen Oprah, my dreams would have still been my dreams.
Okay.
But when you see somebody that's inside of that space, because how many big black women are on TV even now?
Correct.
So back then, you didn't see any big black woman on TV that was doing it. So I think had I not seen her, I would have still wanted to do it. But seeing her let me say, okay, it's possible. It's right there.
Like that to me seems like the epitome of that phrase, because what I did understand from the podcast was that Monique, as a little girl growing up in Baltimore, she had this desire to be famous. She wanted to grow up and be some sort of performer. And she had this big dream, but she didn't really know how it was going to get there. Then she saw Oprah Winfrey. And she saw Oprah Winfrey, and then she's like, oh, wow, a big, heavy-set woman like myself. I can go out and do this too. And not only did she have that idol, Oprah, she eventually met her idol. And she eventually worked with her idol. And she eventually got to a place in her career that was in connection to her idol. Precious. You know, when she goes and wins the Best Actress Oscar, or Best Supporting Actress Oscar, a major milestone in any performer's career, you know? And, you know, like I can't really, I mean, I'm sure there are some stories out there, but I can't really think, I mean, to me, that totally embodies the whole, like, never meet your idols. Because look how sour it turned.
If Oprah called Mo today, would you sit down and have a conversation with her?
Let me tell you what I'll do if Oprah called me today, Shannon Sharp. We will sit down and have a conversation with Oprah Winfrey. We will sit down and have a conversation with Tyler Perry. We will sit down and have a conversation with the presidents of Lionsgate. We will sit down and have a conversation with anyone that is, I'm going to say, brave enough to sit down and have a conversation. But what happens is within seconds, if Tyler Perry was to sit right here, you would say, man, I heard you. What you trying to tell me about this sister? Within seconds, Oprah Winfrey would know that people would say, hold up. See, when I speak about Oprah Winfrey, and let me be clear, I love that sister because she's our sister.
Mm-hmm.
She just got to come back across the street. We got the light on. When I speak about Oprah Winfrey, I speak about that woman because she's spoken about me. And when you begin to speak about me privately, I'm going to speak about you publicly. You've been unfair. You've been unjust. And you watched a black woman be thrown under the bus, and you said nothing. And here's what's interesting as well. My husband was saying to me, after I won the Oscar award, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she had the people come, to talk to the Oscar winners. And I go on the stage and I talk to the Oscar winners. Well, when we go to a commercial, the people in the audience, and I say this humbly, as my husband was telling me, he said, Mama, they wasn't screaming Oprah. They were screaming Monique,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So much so, I had to say, y'all gonna shut that shit up now. We get ready to go back on the air. We
Right.
having fun,
Right.
right? He said, but I watched Oprah. He said, I watched her almost turn in her seat like they screaming her name. Now, some people will say, oh, Monique, you're reaching. Well, let me tell you what then happens. The movie The Butler,
Mm-hmm.
that movie was offered to me. Lee Daniels came out and said, I did offer Monique the Butler. But as he said to me, he said, Mo, at the time I didn't have no power and I didn't have no money. So when Oprah said she wanted it, so who played the lead role in The Butler? Oprah Winfrey. Lee Daniels was getting ready to do a biopic on Richard Pryor, and he offered me the grandmother. Who then calls Lee Daniels and says, I want to be the grandmother. So as you're looking at me, it's the same way I'm looking at that sister. And I'm saying, why don't we sit down and have a conversation? Because the way things could look, it may not be that way, but just the way things look, Oprah. Just the way you would have my family on your show, Oprah.
One might say,
Mm-hmm.
or people might say, well, Mo, I mean, the role calls for a heavyset black woman. You, Oprah, y'all fit the roles.
Yes.
How do we know that she wasn't offered the role along and people think that she's better, more qualified than you?
It don't work like that, Shannon. You can't offer me. Once you say, I want you,
Right.
that's what it is.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I don't have the money to fund a production.
Right.
I don't have the connections to go to the studio and say, listen, I want to do this movie. She does.
Right.
So when Lee says, hey, baby, she got the money, go get it.
Get it.
But someone would just say, how is that working out like that? How is that happening like that?
Mm-hmm.
How is it that things that was offered to Monique, you seem to be playing? Now, I told Oprah about that. See, everything we're saying to you right now,
You was having a conversation with her.
listen here. I don't play the behind the back. I don't play the I'ma share with Shannon. There's one thing I will share with you that I've not shared with anybody.
Okay.
But I don't play the behind the back and all of that. I say, listen, let me try to get to you first. Now, if you avoid me, okay.
Okay.
But I tried to be respectful. I tried to call you first. When she had my family on her show, I tried to call you first. I tried to talk to you privately, but then you became the great mighty Oprah Winfrey, and you were too busy to talk. Well, now I'm going to talk about it. This woman has overstepped with me in so many ways that somebody would say, if we wasn't Monique and Oprah Winfrey in the entertainment business, and we was Monique and Oprah Winfrey that worked at Costco, I see you in the break room. I see you at your cash register. Because she's overstepped.
Wow. So I don't know, Monique. This might be the term crossing of the Rubicon. We might be going too far. How do you, if you feel that way, because clearly if you feel this way, now
Yes.
I get why you feel this way. I don't know, like I said, I don't know this. I'm taking you at your word. Now, not the Tyler, because
Yes.
I've listened to the audio.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about Oprah.
Yes.
I'm just taking you at your word.
Yes.
If you feel this way, is it possible she feels the exact same way about you?
How could she? How could she? What have I taken from Oprah? When did I have Oprah's mother and father on my show? When did I have anybody come and speak about Oprah Winfrey on the Monique show? That's never happened. So how could she feel that way?
Monique saying all sorts of things about Oprah, and in Oprah's defense too, Oprah's a businesswoman. She's like a billionaire or something like that. So, you got, Monique was very vocal about her dissatisfaction with the Oprah thing. I don't know which came first, but, Monique definitely wasn't quiet about it and didn't take it lying down if there was a problem, to which Oprah fired back, shot back with interviews of her family and just nasty behind the scenes dealings. And it's like, wow, like Oprah, a major showbiz mogul, and Monique, a famous actress, comedian, to go that far in business together, and Oprah being Monique's idol at one point, such a strange, tragic turn of events when you really think about it. It's like the epitome of never meet your heroes. I mean, they could get over it. They could solve it. They could come back together. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be a plot twist? Monique and Oprah reconnect. Because I know of Oprah, the only thing I never liked about Oprah was, a lot of people dislike Oprah for many reasons. I didn't like her because she was always on during Simpsons. The Simpsons. Dun, 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 the Simpsons song plays or whatever. Oprah was always on when Simpsons was on. So I'd rush home from school. I'm trying to watch Simpsons. And my mom's like, out of the way, motherfucker. I'm watching Oprah. I'm like, oh, Mom, for God's sakes, I want to watch Simpsons, please. No, we're watching Oprah. I was like, Oprah? No offense to Oprah, but, as a kid, come on, can you blame me? What would you really rather watch, Simpsons or Oprah? So, always had to watch Oprah. Not always, but, it used to always piss me off. Anyways, Oprah was always on during Simpsons. But wouldn't that be a plot twist? Monique and Oprah reconnect. That'd be cool. Club Shay Shay, he invited Oprah on.
Tyler, Oprah, I would greatly appreciate it if you two guys would come on Club Shay Shay. We sit down, we have a conversation. This is not an interview. This is not hard hitting. I want you to tell your truth. Miss Oprah, Tyler, tell your truth, and we can get to the bottom of this because, hey, we got an icon here sitting on this couch, and she's hurting.
Oprah and Tyler, I want to say I appreciate my brother Shannon Shaw for saying what he just said, and I want to clear something up. I'm not hurt personally. I'm hurt for our community. I'm hurt that y'all would allow yourselves to sit in something that you know that you've done wrong and not say anything. That helps us not. So Brother Shay Shay have said, y'all come on the sofa. Oprah, this liquor is good. Okay, and I understand you like cranberry and vodka. Okay, Roosevelt Cartwright told me you drink that you like. And he told me some other things with the drink that you like. Come on, Uncle Shay Shay. Let's have a conversation. Well, you took yours all the way down, and I cannot. Okay? Okay, I cannot do that.
You already did a good job.
Thank you, sugar.
That would be, I would say if I was Oprah, that would be a must. Club Shay Shay is doing such great content right now. He's having his time, and he's also had his previous history as a football player and a sports commentator. So he's just like riding his third wave. He's just riding the waves, man, and he's doing some great things. So, if some big things, and all eyes are on Club Shay Shay right now. So, if Oprah, I think, would have to answer. I would think any of these people, all these people, they're saying things like, we're not going to talk about it, or when you're right, there's no need to defend. You're being called out in a very public way. You're a performer. All performers, all artists, all creators value a badge of authenticity. So you have to answer, I would say. Go state your case. Have your day in court. So that'd be interesting.